Chapter 2. How Arthur performed the miracle of the sword and discovered his birthright. When back at the anvil, which was still unguarded, Sir Kay unwrapped the sword from the cloak. He set its point upon the anvil's iron and pushed with all of his strength, but to no avail. After a few minutes, and after he had turned almost purple from the effort, he gave up. "Father," he confessed, "no man may perform this miracle." "Could I try?" Arthur asked. "By what right?" said Hector. "By the right that I drew that sword out in the first place for my brother," Arthur said. He was not bragging, only stating a fact. He was still innocent, you see, with no understanding of the contest or of its meaning. He did not know why his father looked at him so strangely now. "Are you angry with me?" he asked. Sir Ector told his younger son that he wasn't angry and asked his older son to hand the sword over. Both father and eldest son watched as Arthur hopped upon the marble block and easily pushed the sword back in. Then he pulled it out and pushed it in again, performing the miracle twice. Sir Ector gasped and kneeled. He clasped his hands together as though praying. "Father," Arthur cried, dropping the sword and running over. "I am not your father," Sir Ector said, and Arthur's face fell. Sir Kay's face had fallen too, but his at the thought that his brother, instead of him, might actually be king. Sir Ector cleared his throat and began to tell a story. The story had started 18 years ago, he explained. The wizard Merlin and the knight Alpheus had brought him a baby. They had not told him what baby it was, only that he must name that child Arthur and raise him as if he were his own. This he had done. Sir Ector had never guessed who Arthur's father might be, he said. But today it seemed quite clear. Surely no other baby crying, my child?" he asked Arthur. "I am crying because I feel as though I have lost you," Arthur replied, "and because I would rather have you as my father than be king." At that moment, as if by magic, two men appeared. It was the wizard Merlin and the knight Orpheus themselves. "I have seen all that has happened today in the surface of my magical looking glass," Merlin explained. "I have been waiting for it to happen for 18 long years." Taking Arthur's hand in his own, Merlin told Arthur what his future held in stone for him. "You will be the greatest and most famous king who ever lived," he said. "You will have many excellent knights gathered around you. The world will talk of your deeds and adventures until the end of time. Will you promise me something?" Sir Ector asked the boy, suddenly no longer his son. "Of course," Arthur replied. "When you are king of Britain, will you give your brother Kay a position in your kingdom?" "Of course," Arthur repeated, "but only if you will be my father forever." Arthur sealed this exchange of promises with a kiss upon his father's forehead and also upon both cheeks. Both men would keep their promises, and this is how Arthur first discovered he was king. Listen to learn how the world discovered it as well. By Christmas morning, the day of the contest, thousands of people had arrived to watch the challenge of the sword. A platform had been built around a cube of marble, and a fancy throne had been set out for the archbishop. The rules said that at least in the first round, only those with a natural right to compete should do so. 19 kings and 16 dukes immediately stepped forward, including Kings Pellinore, Lot, Urien, Orion, Leo the Grange, and Ryans. Each of them tried, some of them several times, but all of them failed. This made them feel angry and embarrassed. The audience us all. In your wisdom, you must choose a new king from one of us. Once you have chosen him, we will promise to follow him. The Archbishop almost agreed, but he could not believe that Merlin would have made such trouble. We will be patient, just a little while longer, he said, for the time in which it will take a man to count to 500 two times. If no one has pulled the sword out by then, I will do you as you ask. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you, the kings and dukes cried, counting very quickly. 480, 481, 482. Arthur, Merlin, and Orpheus eventually called. I'm sorry, but the motorcycle outside is I think they are couples. There are couples of motorcycles outside. I'm so sorry about it. It's almost midnight though. I don't know. I cannot do anything about it. But anyway, Merlin and Orpheus eventually called. They were enjoying the suspense and had waited until the last minute. Who are these men walking with Merlin and Orpheus? The crowd wondered aloud as Sir Ector, Sir Kay, and Arthur approached just before the deadline. Merlin brought Arthur to the Archbishop's platform. Sir, he said, I have brought you the next contestant for the sword challenge. By what right do you bring him? The Archbishop asked. By the right that he is the true son of Arthur Pendragon, Merlin answered. That is King Arthur pulling the sword in front of everyone. The crowd gasped. Merlin had taken the boy so quickly that none of them had ever known Arthur Pendragon's baby had been successfully born. Merlin patiently explained, and Sirs Orpheus and Ector faithfully backed up his story. The Archbishop gave Arthur permission to try, just as he had done before. Arthur now laid his hand upon the sword, bent his body, and pulled. All the world watched as the piece of metal slid smoothly out of the anvil. As this time was even more exciting than the last. Each one was feeling confusing emotions of his own, just as a few moments before Arthur had indeed only been a boy, a son, and a brother. But by performing the miracle again, he had immediately turned into a man. The crowd strained to touch Arthur if only to reach a piece of his clothing, but seeing the emotions on the faces of the only family he had ever known, Arthur pushed through the crowd to reach Sirs Ector and Kay. He took their hands and kissed each one gently on the cheek. The crowd cheered even more loudly than Arthur's. Heart and soul were so happy that the pair seemed to take wing and fly like a graceful bird. Watching this magic, Merlin made a wish, namely that all who might ever hear this story, including you, will realize that they too may succeed in the things they try. They need only passionately pull the sword of their dreams out from the solid iron of their situation. Think about that, won't you, as this story continues. Next chapter, conclusions. Of course, things are rarely that simple, and this was no exception. Arthur did not immediately become king. While many were happy finally to have peace in the troubled land, others still refused to accept the outcome. Instead, they demanded that Arthur go through further trials. For the sake of peace, the Archbishop agreed. He ordered a second sword challenge at Candlemas, where the entire process was repeated again. There was then a third challenge at Easter and a fourth at Pentecost. After the fourth trial, most people were not only convinced, but by then loved Arthur completely. Finally, the Archbishop made it official. With Merlin's help and good advice, Arthur built a great and powerful kingdom called Camelot. He also made friends of other kings, while Arthur's few enemies remained and waged war against him. He was able to hold off their attacks and win the wars. He drove his enemy, King Pellinore, away from his possessions and others but members of Arthur's court. As peace settled upon the land, Arthur's greatness, as greatness will, began to attract more greatness still. Man of noble souls and great skill, who also wished to achieve glory at arms in the court of Calvary, began to gather around the king. This worthy man would be known as the worthies, the knights, and the ancient and honorable companions of the Round Table. Their noble stories shall also follow. That is the end of part 1. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention King Arthur. This book was retold from the Howard Pyle original. It is retold from the Howard Pyle original by Tanya Samorsky and illustrated by Dan Andreessen. It is from Starling Publishing. Tell me down below, how do you like the first part of King Arthur and his knights? And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the next part will tell the story of many knights, which is